Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's session. Hope you're all keeping well and safe. Today, we're going to talk about WhatsApp and how it's basically kicking it out of the park with regards to generating customer inbound engagement. It's been a huge success since it's been launched. So now we're going to take a deeper dive with some real hard facts about how to use it and what it can deliver for your business. So now I'm going to introduce you to Mark Opperman and Graham Bragg, who will be taking today's session. And again, if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to use your chat panel to ask any questions. I will be more than happy to answer them. So all I have to say is, hey, Graham, and hey, Mark, how are you?
Hi, Henry. Thank you.
Hi. Okay, thanks, Anne-Marie. Really what we're looking today is about that whole inbound WhatsApp. Delighted just to sort of say that Webio, a recent award was the Deloitte Fast 50. So the technology Fast 50, we rank second in that. So delighted that, that we've done so well in that. I want to touch on, as I said, a range of our clients and sort of give you a bit of an overview of the type of customers that we're doing these types of conversations for. There's a whole range of different types of customers there. Some would use both SMS, WhatsApp, Messenger, and other channels. Some would just use, say, WhatsApp predominantly and a small bit of SMS. I'm going to touch on that today, and we're going to give examples. And really, if I look at, those clients, they've helped us win quite a number of awards over the past 2 to 3 years, delivering sort of really good uplift on metrics, the whole area of innovation. And I think one key thing would be that whole delivering a great customer experience and delivering the right business result as well. So today it's all about WhatsApp. We're going to talk about WhatsApp Business. What is it? How to get started, how can it work for you, what will it do for you, what are the metrics that you can expect, and at the end of this 35 minutes, we'll have a Q&A session to answer any queries that you have, and would encourage you, should you have a question, just simply put it into the question box and send it off to us. So, let's get started. If I just kick off and let's a bit of a recap, because there has been significant change over the past 12 months. WhatsApp, along with the other channels like Zoom and all those other things, they've seen a growth in numbers. And actually, the numbers for WhatsApp now, it's over 2 billion. It's in 180 countries. Now, that's even with, there's been some talk recently about sort of different channels and what have you. But again, let me assure you, WhatsApp is as strong as ever. And especially from business, WhatsApp Business, the sort of API side that we're going to talk about, we're seeing monthly growth rates of 20%. So 20% growth month on month for our clients in this area is huge. But if you look at, just the UK alone, it's roughly about 84% adoption across the UK for WhatsApp. So again, huge, and even higher in different demographics and age ranges. And if I was then to look at, has this had any impact by COVID? And absolutely it has. The volumes have gone up by 30% over the past 12, 14 months. And that has netted the 100 billion messages daily. Now, when you just think about that, just say that slowly to yourself, it's just absolutely incredible, the amount of usage that WhatsApp gets. And this is, as I say, is where we're seeing businesses really tap into that level of engagement from people right across the spectrum. Now, there are different types of WhatsApp, and Graham, the volume numbers are just phenomenal, aren't they? They're mind-boggling when you think about it.
It's amazing, isn't it? I think the key part you said there was, there's the two reasons for the latest growth, one being the COVID side of things, and people are changing the way they actually communicate with each other. The digital side of things has exploded, and for obvious reasons. And secondly, again, you've probably seen the news over the last few weeks that there's a bit of a scare that WhatsApp's sort of losing some of its coverage to another platform. But it's a small drop in the ocean, and the growth area, again, you've already said it, so I want to repeat what you've said. It's pretty much been in the business side of things as well. People are starting to see the business benefits, and that sort of brings us to the slide we have here in front of us. one of the questions I get asked a lot is, well, what's the difference between sort of the WhatsApp business solution that you're sort of talking to me about and WhatsApp business? Because we sort of dabbled with that a while back. So just cover it very quick. There are 3 types of WhatsApp out there. Standard WhatsApp, what you call the end user WhatsApp, the one that most people have on their phone. It's a free download and basically can send messages backwards and forwards to your friends. Simple as that. The quick upgrade from that is what you call the standard business WhatsApp. The difference really is that it gives you some basic tools really that you can automatically respond to a message with. So, someone sends you a WhatsApp, it's going to wait for an answer to go back. With the business standard, it will just say something like, oh, I'll get back to you very shortly, or by the way, our opening hours are something. Very, very limited in what it can do. So what WhatsApp did was they then expanded that into a full API WhatsApp solution, which is really the connection that we would make with WhatsApp. It's the one you need to be able to do things in bulk, really. So if you've got a number of agents all wanting to use the same WhatsApp address, so it gets distributed to them evenly, they can work them one at a time, multiply, etc. You want to start to add bots and automation to it, that's where the business solution API comes in. So there's a huge advance between that and what is known as often as WhatsApp business. Sometimes people confuse the two, but it's worth mentioning that.
So from the process point of view, one of the things on the agenda was, how do companies get started? Tell us more about that.
Okay, it's not overly complex, really. It's more about just getting the right things in place to get approved. So WhatsApp business, not everybody can get onto WhatsApp business. It's as simple as that. So you have to apply for it. The first part of it is you have to have some form of Facebook presence. Since WhatsApp was purchased by Facebook, you need to have a little bit of both. Now, you don't need to have a lot, just a business page. And that business page really just needs to have your name and logo and some basic details about you. But behind that, you have to have what they call a business management page. So this is just really some settings within your Facebook page that is saying, you're a business, these are the details about our business, this is what we do, and a small explanation really about you as a company. And that's where they go when they look at, well, who do we approve and who don't we approve? It's not about particularly where you sit or what you do, it's about how you present yourself. And I guess really this is one of the big things that Webio can help you with. We've got a lot of customers that have said, we applied for WhatsApp and we couldn't get through. And the reason being that they just applied with some very basic detail or some information that WhatsApp weren't really looking for. So again, we can help with that. It's a big part of it. Getting that presence right on Facebook, even if you haven't already got one, do that. So once we've made that request for you and we've helped you get that page correct, really it's pretty straightforward. They will either approve you or they won't approve you. If they approve you, it's pretty straightforward. Again, literally within a few days, you will have that connection, and it's a very simple sort of PIN code that you're given that we then will link in with our platform, and the two are then connected together. It's very, very straightforward and very quick to do. Again, don't be frightened by the process. So many people are sort of putting out messages out there, it's impossible, it's really hard to do. It isn't hard to do if you know how to do it. And again, we can guide you and help you with that.
And I think we've a proven track record. We can actually point to a whole range of companies, collections companies that are using this today to great effect. But I think you're right there, Graham, on actually approaching it the right way and knowing what you're doing is going to make a huge difference.
You've got to look at it this way, Mark, really. Sorry, I jumped there. But it's like, if you've got a big, huge brand, they've only got a number of people that are looking at these things. So, if McDonald's name pops up, someone will instantly go tick in a box, they'll get it. Anyone they don't recognize who they are, which would be the majority of the customers we work with, they're going to look at it, but they don't have hours and hours to look at your business. They're going to look at your Facebook presence and they're going to look at your business manager page. So getting that right on that quick view that they give it is a tick in a box or isn't a tick in a box. So again, it's a really important part, but it's quite a quick process. It isn't months. It's all done within a week or two.
Yeah. And again, we can walk you through that. So that's, as I say, and look, we do have, and it would be not right of us not to say that we have had a number of our clients in the early stages who have applied and didn't get approved. So, we've learned from those experiences as well. If I was just to look at the whole conversational flow, like you have inbound, and on the other side you'll have outbound in a second. But let's just look at inbound. So you've got through the got yourself up and running. You have a number that is associated with your WhatsApp business page. Now, or your business account, whatever you want to call it. That could be a mobile number, that could be a landline number. And again, we can help you organize that. But when you do get that, where are you to start? Very simple. You start with publicizing your number. That could be simply on your website. It could be on a letter. It could be whatever the case may be. We're going to give an example later where one of our customers started there, moved on then to the WhatsApp widget on their site, and they include an SMS in they include a link in SMS or emails that are going out to their customers. Okay, let's look at two of those methodologies in action. You see here in front of me, this is my mobile phone. And again, look, 70-80% of your customers are going to be engaging digitally with you as a business on their mobile. So hence the reason I'm showing it here. As you can see in the bottom right-hand corner, there's the little WhatsApp green logo. That's a widget on your website. By simply having that, and it's simple to put in, it's a simple bit of code that can be added within a minute or two. It's not a big deal. By simply adding that, what that's going to do is it's going to bring the person into your WhatsApp channel straight away. So I'm going to click that. It opens WhatsApp on my phone and starts the conversation. Now, I'm going to have a very quick conversation here, and I'm going to go, hello. The Webio bot is going to thank me for contacting them, and the virtual assistant will take the conversation from there. Now, I could continue on the conversation. I could ask for my balance. I could pay a bill. I could do an I&E. All of those things, they can be either automated or blended with the agent, and away you go from there. Really, all I'm trying to show is how easy it is to generate inbound. I mentioned also sort of publicizing in an email or an SMS. We're going to look at the SMS, and we're going to see here Webio demo. So let's look at Webio demo as it's named. And it says, Mark, you can now speak to us over WhatsApp. Simply click this link. So again, this link will bring me back into the same channel. It brings me back to the conversation where we've had it, where we were 2 moments ago. And let me see, if I just type in sales demo, the conversation will go on from there, and the bot is handling the conversation from there. Now, we're going to talk about where people that you are already having a conversation with are coming inbound to you, but we're also going to be able to talk to you about where people who aren't having a conversation, they're completely unknown to you, random people coming to your business. Again, they could be customers, but you're not currently engaging with them. We're going to deal with 2 of them in a moment. So really, as I say, really easy, as you just saw there. That was just 2 ways. People publicize it on their website and letters and the like. You will be surprised at the inbound volume that it will generate for you. Now, the good thing about this is that when you start that conversation, you're not constrained in any way, shape, or form as you would be, and we'll touch on when you get to outbound. And you can have a 24-hour conversations with people as you start to blend in the bots, and they could be simple out of hours bots or FAQ bots. And again, we're not really sort of, today is not about going through the range of things the bots can do for you. There's a lot of stuff that you can do there and make it really good and a really great customer experience and dealing with people 24/7. And again, that's where obviously the automation comes in. And Graham, you're going to touch on that shortly about different types of conversations and what have you. So all good in that regard. So the other one would be outbound. Now, outbound is, I'm going to actually say, a little bit more difficult because if you're going outbound to somebody and not as part of a conversation that was initiated from inbound, you do need their consent. Again, it's a lot easier. Any inbound conversation is automatically giving their consent to use WhatsApp as a conversational channel. The next thing that you would need here is that you would need approved templates. Now, look, templates would be where it's a set script And that could be something simple as, we need to talk to you about your account. You contacted us, we need to re-engage with you. But again, the scripts are highly looked at by WhatsApp, and they will approve and they will decline different scripts depending on what actually is in them. They're very particular about no sales and marketing messages. So the likes of, 10% off and stuff like that, they will not get approved. Now, the 24-hour conversational rule kicks in, no different than on the inbound, that, as somebody comes inbound to you, you have 24 hours to have a conversation with them. Should it go longer than that, you would need to initiate the conversation again by using a pre-approved outbound template. So what I wanted to do here was give a real live example of a client. Now, this is a collections client. This is and they're not massive. They wouldn't be, the biggest in the country by any stretch of the imagination. But really, this is to demonstrate the power of inbound. So this customer would use very little outbound on WhatsApp. Typically, it's only to re-engage post a weekend. And that's why you'll probably see Monday's numbers are a little higher. But almost 90, I would say 8% of these are initiated from inbound conversations. The customer started with a simple on their website. They've moved to a widget on their website, and it's a case of where they've also then start to publicize their number. Now, for a small operation like this in the collections world, they're getting, just look at the numbers there, 6,000 to 4,000 to 5,900, depending on what day of the week it is. Now, I say interactions, so it's not a full conversation. It would be a part of a conversation. It could be, can you provide your date of birth? Could you, and then send a message. So it's an interaction. But leaving that aside, just purely look at the numbers there. They're in the thousands. Now, you also then look at the number of agents that they have actually working this. 3 to 4 agents, typically the agents, that extra 4th agent is on at the start and at the end of the week, and 3 are the main people that would work it during the week. So from that volume of interactions, it is huge, huge volume. And it's a case of where, as I say, that's real live. I've taken those numbers yesterday from this particular customer for the last calendar week, and that's the numbers that they had there. So, as I said, from a numbers wise and performance, it is absolutely generating that inbound volume that we had sort of advertised at the start. Impressive numbers, Graham.
It is, yeah, no, very impressive numbers. I'd say it's and they don't do huge amounts of automation either right now. There's something they're working forward to, I would say. But why would you say, 4 agents, just 3 to 4 agents could cope with 6,600 interactions? That is a lot. You divide that up by minutes in the day, and if that was a phone call, that would be hugely less. Without huge amounts of automation right now, why would you say that was?
Well, look, first off, if this volume of activity was on the dialer, you're looking at probably 10 to 15 agents. There's no two ways about it. What we've seen here is, and this is something that we've mentioned before, that, this type of channel is asynchronous. It's not like a phone where it's very resource heavy. It's one-to-one conversational ratios. That the agents now, they didn't start here, but they certainly are there now after sort of building up their skill level. They would be at somewhere between about 10 to about 16 conversations ongoing at any one time. So it would be a case of where that they have a huge level of efficiency. That, as I say, because it's asynchronous, people will take 10 minutes to respond, 15 minutes to respond. And the interesting thing is that what we've done a lot of research on is that the length of time to respond in these channels doesn't have an impact on the end outcome, which, again, it's the asynchronous nature. people do not expect, an immediate response every time. Now, that can't be the same, can't be said for web chat or a phone call. If you didn't answer somebody on a phone call for a minute and a half and just were listening to silence, they'd hang up. No difference than a web chat. Again, it's that immediacy, what people require there. So it is completely different, but incredibly effective when it comes to, and again, rather than me talking about it, they're real live numbers. They speak for themselves.
Yeah, absolutely. It's also the power of what some of the interactions are as well. You say individual interactions, which could be just I need to IDV or whatever it is, but the whole thing about the richness of WhatsApp giving you the ability to send graphics and receive graphics as well. So from that sort of fraud side and from the, we need to actually just double check who you are. Could you send a copy of your utility bill in, which used to be all done over sort of basic standard Royal Mail or over email. Now instantly, again, they can be sent across on these on these channels.
To give you an example of that, Graham, not this client, I'd hasten to say, one of our clients in Italy, there's 8 forms of identification, or 8 forms regarding some are identification, some are other things that they would get from their clients. Previously, it was that, putting it in the post. Where today they simply take a picture, the agent reviews it, may has a question or two, that's downloaded onto CRM, and away you go from there. So something simple as that. So yeah, really powerful. If we get into the 2 types of conversation, there is the ones that are, as part of an ongoing conversation. You've known them. They've come into you, you've done your ID and V, and the conversation can continue. You've already completed the ID and V. The agent can use the smart phrases. The agent can pass it to a bot, or the bot can pass it back to the agent. You get to the end, you close it with a tagged outcome. And if you needed to re-engage with them, you always could after the 24 hours if needed. And again, that would be most of the activity would be where you already know the people that are coming into your business because the conversations have started. Now, you'll know, and we know this as well, but lots of people and there would be a lot of contact coming into your business that aren't part of a current conversation. And this is where you can start to bring in the likes of your APIs and webhooks. And Graham, this is really where, technology today has really taken that whole to the next level to really deliver those efficiencies.
Oh, absolutely. It's really where the sort of linking to data you already have on somebody and bringing that into conversation becomes sort of front and center. Everyone's talked about, oh, well, we can personalize things by just dropping a name in from a file, or, oh, we know who they are. We can do it's so much more powerful than that now. I mean, just going through the order you've got there, the integration via webhooks. Now, you've mentioned ID and V there. That's a key piece. If somebody does come in cold, how do you know who they are? Well, you need to first find out who they are, ask them who they are. Or it may be the fact that you recognize the mobile number because the person's address for their WhatsApp is their mobile number. So if you've actually got some history of that mobile number, you can start to look that up and get information. So instantly you say, oh, that's Mark Opperman. I know that number, but I do need to make sure it's you on that phone, and it still is you. So I need to ask you your date of birth. And at that point, we sort of know who you are. So we're linked into a third-party CRM or a database of some kind. The customer responds back and says, oh, the 1st of the 3rd, 92. That needs to match. We know who they are. We go into the database, directly into their file. We check the date of birth section or the field. Does it match? Yes, it does. Great. We're through ID and V. But then
what's your account number? Because I know a lot of our clients would use the account number as the main identifier. So yeah, any really point of data to help verification.
Yeah, but it goes further than that, because then you know who that customer is. And when you're using either automation via a bot or you're using a human agent, doesn't matter, because a human agent can drop in automated responses without having to know what they are or look them up. So it could be somebody then says, well, look, I need to know what my current outstanding balance is and when my next payment is due and what the minimum payment due would be. There's 3 questions in that, and someone would either generally have to go away, look those 3 things up. But actually, if you can read and understand the intent of that query, and you can say, actually, I need to know field A, field B, and field C in my database or my CRM, reach out and pull those back in. You've built a template around that says, okay, yep, your current balance is field A, and it gives the absolute detail for that customer live at that point. And the other key piece of that is it's a single version of the truth using one database and one set of information. Whereas today, some of that can be done with flat files, which is great. It's a huge leap forward for most people, and it's a good place to start. But actually, when you start to put the webhooks in there, that flat file, which could be out of date because they made a payment 20 minutes ago, an hour ago, even this morning, whatever it may be, that now is no longer required. It is what it is live at that point. So you sent a WhatsApp out, somebody has phoned into a number, made a payment. When they query it on the WhatsApp, it's live instantly following that being updated from that phone.
And then you're moving back into,
so
who you are, and then you continue the conversation as before. So
indeed, yeah, and then it's what else can you do there? And again, working through there, the webhooks is really key. I make a big point of that because it really makes a huge difference to personalization and self-service. But again, then you can hand over to an agent if required and if necessary. You don't need to automate all of that. And generally, when you start, you don't do that. You start to look at history of what the agents were doing and which bits then could I make easier and take away from the agent. So first off, I can save 10% of their time with the ID&V. Actually, they will then go through these stages quite often. I can now save 20, 30, 40% of those agents' time, and they get more and more and more with the same.
Sure.
And then there's things like smart phrases. I guess a term that we sort of throw in there and may not be known to everybody, but that's again looking at what it is that most of your agents are doing and what they're typing. Typing time and thinking time is quite heavy. So how much of that can you take away? So you start to analyze what are the responses that are repetitive within the solution. So, and it's amazing, 15 to 20 standard responses actually will cover about 70 or 80% of all the responses that need to go out there. They may need to be personalized slightly, but actually the majority of the typing of those 30 words, if you can automate that, again, you saved a lot of the agent time. So what a smart phrase is, it's like a bit of a standard Boolean search. So someone starts to type a sentence, it will then pop up and populate the full sentence based on what that sentence generally is going to be. They can accept it or not accept it based on what the agent needs to do. But again, a huge time saving and helps you get sort of that conversation flowing smoothly with the customer. Outbound tags, what is the outcome of the conversation, or actually what's the current situation in that conversation? So again, you can automate that, or the agent can do that as well. Someone's been a little bit awkward, it may be good to tag that, so the next time they come in, there was a bit of awkwardness on there, or there was a vulnerability, or they made a promise to pay, but I'm not sure. The tag is that they're going to do that. If it hasn't happened in 3 days, automatically then send out a message on the 4th day. And again, this is where the template piece comes in. Talk about templates quite a bit over the last few slides there. But again, Mark already mentioned that, when you do go outbound to a customer, when a conversation's been closed for 24 hours. So this is basically, the customer comes to you, they're opening the conversation. You can then speak with them. That conversation stays open as long as the customer continues to respond to you. If the customer stops responding and 24 hours go past, you have to then reopen that conversation with a templated message, so something that's been signed off by WhatsApp. And the whole reason is to stop spam, and also to make sure that people are using it in a good business way, and it keeps away the sort of the thought process then that SMS got sort of after a small period of time, that I'm just going to start ignoring them because it's just everyone's trying to market to me, everyone's trying to sell to me. This is where the template comes in. It stops that happening and makes it more realistic that people understand.
And again, I think it adds value to the conversation as well. So I'm conscious of the time, Graham. So just walk us through very quickly the the steps to on the Webio side. How would somebody get started?
It's pretty straightforward. I mean, normally we would build the first bot for you and we would train you how that was done, and then you start to build your own bots after that. The front end system is very, very simple, very easy to use. We won't show you that now. We'll do a separate campaign sort of webinar on that to let you see how that's done, but it is really simple. And then you run that campaign. So you've built a bot, and I need to make sure that when somebody comes in, they then hit that bot. So it's triaging to the right place or whatever. So you basically just set out a campaign that says, either message all of these people because they've agreed that you can go out to them, or actually over this period of time, over these next 4 days, I want this bot running so that when people come to me, it responds in this certain way. And then when people do come back into you, literally a conversation is started. So what will happen is your agents will be sitting there in their queues, watching their queues, and as a customer comes in, it will pop up in that queue for them. And you'll see here there's different names. That's the name that the WhatsApp name the customer will be using, and then the conversation they've held so far, whether it's been automated up to that point or they've just said I need to speak to somebody. Again, that full history will be there as you see on that right-hand panel. And the bottom panel that's blank, that's where the agent can start to respond, either typing, using smart phrases, or even passing back to a different bot. It may be quite often that someone asks a simple question that the bot can answer. And rather than have a whole conversation, they can click on the little red box, which is at the side of that white panel next to send, and they can then select different bots to take over the conversation again. It's all about automating where you can, but having agents available when needed.
And making that customer experience is key. And
that is the bottom line of everything, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, if the customer is happy and you're guiding them the right way, you know, it's that whole visceral thing. You know, if I'm happy with you, I'll start to give you what you want.
And look, make it easy for people to do it, and don't be surprised when they do. Really, in summary, it is a case of where, look, WhatsApp will increase your inbound exponentially on what you do today. So it's in many regards, it's that no-brainer. And when you get there, you then have that capability of automating somewhere between 30 to 60% of all conversations. So incredibly powerful from an efficiency point of view, but not losing that really good customer experience. And as Graham sort of delved into in a really big way there, which was really good, the value of live data. And you're bringing live data into a conversation. So value and suitability and effectiveness of the conversations are brought on to the next level. So that's sort of the summary, let's say, takeaway. I'm going to bring Anne-Marie back into the conversation at this stage. Anne-Marie, questions. I'm conscious time-wise, we're probably limited, but over to you. Let's get a question or two.
Yeah, let's fire. We have had some questions in, so let's jump in straight away. The first one says, you talk about templates. Can you give us a little bit more detail on how they're used?
I'll take that one for sure. And really, templates, as we mentioned, are a scripted outbound message. That script needs to be approved by WhatsApp. And typically they're fairly generic. The generic ones get approved quicker. Something like, hi, and the name. We'd like to talk to you about your account. Please start the conversation with us here now. The minute you start to try to sell stuff or advertise stuff, that's where you'll run into issues. It won't get the template won't get approved. So what I would suggest is, and again, we'll walk you through this should you want more information, what type of templates will get approved easier. And anyway, you can't share that much information before you've done identification and verification. So it plays into that in a big way. So yeah, we'll look, help you lots should it be required in that area.
Yeah, so anything I'd add to that very quickly, Mark. I think the whole reason for it is it builds trust in the WhatsApp platform as a business platform.
Yep. Absolutely,
okay,
indeed.
Great. The next question here we have, if agents are using live chat and SMS, how can we incorporate WhatsApp?
I grabbed that. Again, we covered that briefly in there, but it really is, it's about just having those links to WhatsApp, really. WhatsApp is a different channel. There are people that won't use live chat that will use WhatsApp. There are people that will use SMS but actually won't use WhatsApp. So you've got people using different channels. So having the ability for them to select the one that they're comfortable with, number one, is the important part of it. But also then the other part is, live chat is, as Mark said, it's one of those things where you're on it, and when that conversation is closed, it's gone for good. With WhatsApp, that conversation is open as long as the customer wants to hold that conversation open on their phone. It stays there for years if they wanted to be there. So that ability for them to then go out, have lunch, get back to work, come back to it is really powerful. So again, as Mark showed there, by just having icons on your websites, posting in live chat a connection through to WhatsApp, you can move people across. The other advantage is the richness of the content of WhatsApp. So with SMS, you are limited, of course, to text. With live chat, you aren't limited on all of them, but many of them you are limited to chat. Just with text again. With WhatsApp, we've already mentioned it, but you can send pictures, you can put attachments on there, and the ability to have sliders and buttons are all sort of popping up on the API anytime shortly. So there's a lot more sort of flexibility, and it's easier to use in certain circumstances.
Okay, great. Listen, we did have a few extra questions there, so don't worry. We will get back to you directly, but we have run out of time. The clock has worked against us today. So I just want to thank everybody for joining us. I hope you got some great information and insight into using WhatsApp as that channel that can really generate that inbound activity, if that's something that's really, really important to your business. As Mark and Graham have said before, please feel free to reach out for any questions, or just even to get some advice or guidance on how you might go about implementing WhatsApp or integrating it into what you're already doing. That's where their expertise lies. So please feel free. You can see the contact details there of how to reach out to us. So we'd be happy to engage you and answer any questions, additional questions that you have. So all that's left for me to do now is to thank you for joining us today, and I hope we will see you on a future session in time to come. So thanks everybody, and have a great day.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.